Hello, welcome to Family Movie Night, where we'll be talking about what we watch for Family Movie Night. I'm Mike, and today we'll be talking about Harold and the Purple Crayon. It's a 2024 movie starring Zachary Levi, Lil Howery, and Benjamin Patani, among others. It also stars Zoe Deschanel, Jermaine Clement, Alfred Molina as the narrator, just a bunch of other random people in here, but it is about inside of his book, Adventurous Harold can make anything happen. All right. Inside of his book, Adventurous Harold can make anything come to life simply by drawing it. After he grows up and draws himself off the book's pages and into the physical world, Harold finds that he has a lot to learn about real life. So, like many others, I grew up with this book. This was a staple in my household as something that I was always really excited to read it because I thought this story was fascinating. I really liked it. So when this came out, or when this was announced that it was coming out, there were some immediate concerns right off the bat. And the first one is, well, is this just going to be like a retelling of like, could it just be like an animated kid story? Like, I don't really understand how it works because it doesn't really have much of a story beyond this little bald kid just goes around with a purple crayon and just draws a bunch of shit. That's about it. So I shouldn't say that. Uh, it's simply about a little bald kid who goes around drawing stuff with his purple crayon. That within itself, you could expand to potentially be something interesting or something cool. But then once you started seeing previews and you started learning a little bit more about what's actually happening with this, you see that, okay, it is about an adult Harold that is going to be drawing stuff. Like, okay, I could potentially see this going somewhere about the plights of growing up or how little imagination adults have or um, just, different things like that. So I saw potential with an adult Harold with what he can do and what he struggles with when he grows up. So there was some interesting ideas there. But that's not exactly what we got here either. We got parts of that, and we got the idea, like a lot of the ideas in this are really interesting. Like the whole thing translating from adult to childhood, that could have been an interesting story. It could have been about this character who wants to go find his author and ask him like, hey, why did you create me? Why did you make me the way that you did? That stuff was fascinating. That could have been a fascinating story too. um but instead, what we got was a mishmash of a lot of different ideas, but nothing is fully baked. And the best way that I can equate this to is that this feels an awful lot like we're trying to put different pieces of a puzzle together, but we're using pieces from like three different puzzles instead. And it just doesn't feel very cohesive, and it doesn't feel like it makes a whole lot of sense. Granted, yes, I understand that this is about a person, Zachary Levi, Harold, I guess, who draws stuff with a purple crayon, and he's able to make it. He's able to just whatever he's thinking, he could just draw it, and then that's it. So I do understand that within itself is an interesting concept that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. However, what we get here is just something that does not make a whole lot of sense. And there's there's two stories here that I think could have been really interesting, and it's the two that I mentioned. But instead, what we get is a fish out of water story about a guy in the real world who doesn't really understand how the real world works. And we get this family who, it's Zoe Deschanel and her child, who is played by Benjamin Batani. Uh, all we get from them is, just follow your dreams and do the things that that you want, and there's not a whole lot of cohesion here. I'm a little confused about how Lil Rel Howery just mooses out from time to time when Tanya Reynolds, who plays the porcupine, doesn't porcupine out that often. I don't really understand that, um, but what I will give this credit for is that Zachary Levi just continues to prove that he is made to be a grown man child in the best possible ways. He portrays innocence and surprise better than a lot of other people. I am starting to wonder if he's going to start to get typecasted because between this and Shazam, like I see where this is ultimately going, and I wonder if Zachary Levi, especially after all that he said about the DCEU. This is just what he's going to do from now on. He's just going to do family style movies, and that's about it. Um, but then you also have this other story that involves Jermaine Clement, who is a librarian or he works in a library, and he is upset that nobody understands the world that he's in, and he nobody understands the imagination that he has. And he gets frustrated and he lashes out, and that comes to blows with Harold, Zachary Levi's character. This could have been interesting, I guess, but this is buried under like five different storylines that just including that just felt like too much. And at the end of the day, it entertained my kids, so I got to give them credit for that. I got to give them credit for the concept of using a crayon could have been really silly, but they did manage to pull it off just fine. And Zachary Levi is solid in this. So, on our personal scale, I will give this a thumbs middle, I guess. I didn't hate it. I didn't overly like it either, but I know how much the girls like this movie because we've watched it a couple times already, unfortunately, and they've really enjoyed it. So those are my thoughts on Harold and the Purple Crayon. What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments or let us know through social media or just let us know what you thought. That's going to do it for this episode of Family Movie Night. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website, spdmcrew.com. Just launched recently. Follow us on Letterboxd at MLHilty2452 and follow our list labeled Family Movie Night. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at highflyercreative.com. If you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.